Call the roll call. I'm going to start running the meeting after we do the election of the chair and vice chair. Right? So what do we do first?
Teresa, you want to call it as acting chair right now? Just call a meeting to order.
Call a meeting to order.
And the roll call. The only ones we're missing, everybody's here, so we're doing people we're missing are Carla, negative, and Joanna. I talked to Joanna. She said she was going to try to call in, but obviously she hasn't.
And Carla had emailed for, I sent her the link this morning. She had asked for it, so I sent it.
She's traveling. I don't know if she'll.
Yeah, she hasn't come in yet, so.
So that being said, okay, it's called to order. We got a roll call. Carla and Joanna, we just say they're excused.
So do we need to make a motion for that?
Yeah, we go ahead.
Okay, I'll make a motion to excuse Carla Friend and Joanna Hanson.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay.
Call for
All
a
in
vote.
favor? Aye. Any opposed? You need one of these? Okay, the first item on the agenda is election of a new chair. And I volunteered to take over the new chair. I was the vice chair, so we will also need a new vice chair. And you will relinquish the chair position. You're good with that?
Yes.
Everybody good with accepting Teresa's
Resignation.
or stepping down? It's not a resignation, you're just stepping away. Okay, we have to vote on that?
No, city clerk said you can do that by consensus,
Okay.
so.
All in favor?
All in favor? You opposed? Anybody? No? Okay. So, and the same thing, I'll step down as the vice chair. And election of the chair, that would be me. Anybody want to discuss it, or do we do have to do anything?
You just
Hmm?
did.
We just did. Okay. Do I nominate myself, or do we have to do anything?
For the chair?
Yeah.
No, you were already
Okay.
consensus of the board, your chair. So now we need to select a vice chair. Anyone want to volunteer?
Cynthia.
I will take the role
Cynthia
with
makes
the
it.
consensus of the board.
Okay. Now that that's done, we can go on to the approval of the agenda. Everybody's got the agenda in front of us. Does anybody have any additions or anything that they want to add? Because what I'd like to do, just so that Gideon, you want to lead, right?
Well, maybe
Well, or we could go with Brian
first, and I could go after him.
Okay, you'd be comfortable with that? 'Cause we'll
Absolutely.
move up
I'd like
the,
citizens go first.
we'll move, I'd like to move up the presentation. Now we gotta be.
It'll be, his comments will be a citizen's comment right under public comment. So after the minutes, then we
Okay.
can ask for members of the public to comment, and that would be the 3 minutes.
Okay. So that we've got from, everybody get a chance to look at the minutes from the 12th. Does anybody have any corrections to those?
Nope, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented for January 12th, 2023.
Got a second?
Second.
Eric, second. All in favor? Okay,
Can Eric vote?
Mhm.
next, let's move on to public comment. Mr. General Public?
Mr. General Public.
Mr. General
Is that
Public?
right?
That would be
Okay,
you.
boom, here I am. No. I just swung in to
Oh.
see what's going on for starters.
Can we just have you state your name for the record?
General Public, no, Brian Olson, OLSEN.
Thank you, Mr. Olson.
Anyway, I stopped in because I've had an idea floating around in my head for quite a while, and I've made it somewhat publicly put out on Facebook and things, and gotten some ideas from other people of how they would think if we did something with that big cement block sitting out in the bay. My thought is to put like some sort of large silhouettes on it that are actually seeable from the shore, whether it be a blue heron or a couple kids playing. I kind of like the thought of a father and son looking like they're sitting on the edge of a pier discussing world items, those sort of ideas. I shared some pictures with Therese and that, I don't know, do you have those like real handy?
I-
Handier than I do? Nope, you left your phone? No. Anyway. I'll pull it up. The idea is, it's just something, I mean, I've been looking at that cinder block for 50 years. And that's, it is to get something out there that's probably more,
See, I always wanted to stick an airplane out on it.
yeah, throw something other. So my thought is, if you have a, oop. If you put out like a child, them doing this sort of thing or something, looking like they're playing on the water.
They want to
Any of that kind of stuff to go with, as long as it doesn't.
I was gonna give a word of advice there.
Yeah,
Can
Okay.
you see the idea there. That sort of thing. And that there, what I should do is,
Oh, wrong camera.
yeah, I'm not like a big computer guy with stuff up on the, ready to go, I guess you would say. Right?
So that's an idea.
It's an idea of things to do. The thing is, you should have to probably put it out to artists who are building things instead of saying, this is what we want, because they'll be have more visions of what they want to do. But I'm still thinking a silhouette item is better than like putting a bronze out there or something is really kind of a waste of a big 3D picture as I see it. And that, so, but people could do whatever they want, but it'd be less expensive the other way. And if you're really putting it out there in the weather, and then you don't want somebody to come along and knock it down. But I'm thinking that it was built on some kind of a frame that went over each side of the block, and then you had your silhouettes up there that you could see from the shoreline.
410 steel.
You had some ideas too of something of what you'd like to see. And
4
we
years
were
ago, we
talking
talked about
flowers.
a kinetic windmill
Mhm.
that had aviation and, yeah, we had a design and talked to an artist.
Mhm. But like I said earlier, when we were just discussing that, I think it's a lot better idea than they talk about wanting to rebuild the pier and the dock and that sort of thing. And I really think that's way out budget wise, not to mention anything we brought up to have put in would definitely be removable if that ever came to the point of that sort of thing. Understand what I'm getting at.
Well, the cool thing about that is,
So that's the other thought, having like a father and son
or in one, that'd be cool.
kind of an idea. So that's what I'm thinking. And that, so I also like the idea of children possibly playing, looking like they're diving off the end of it or something. But I don't know if we want to make anything that looks too inviting that other kids would want to go out to it. You see what I'm saying? You don't want people getting out in the mud out there. Could pose problems. So that's kind of my major input on that part. And the other thoughts I had was I brought up the idea, I talked to a couple of council members of perhaps we could look into getting into having wood sculptures, driftwood sculptures in the park, like more than just one or two, but become something totally different on the pathway down there that would bring people in from other places. If I heard you talking earlier, discussing, Oak Harbor has a lot of things that everybody else has done. Murals on the side of the buildings, yeah, it's nice, I like it. Bronze statues on the main way, good stuff. The Nautilus and the Kraken thing at the beginning down there, I'm surprised the city hasn't gotten a comment from an attorney from Disney because it's like a direct pickup of that. I don't know what all's behind that. There could have been proof to do it in the first place, but even something like that might be kind of cool out there on the cement block also. I'm just trying to think of ideas that are different. Not that you go to some other town and find the same thing. So that brings me to a close unless anybody's got ideas or questions or thoughts to put against that.
I appreciate you coming.
Here I am.
This-
Been sitting on it for a few years. Just trying to figure out
to-
what makes sense, you know?
This plays into kind of where we're going when we get to number 6 on the agenda is like short priority, long-term, short-term goals and finding out stuff that we're willing to, we'll be willing to bite into and looking for various ideas. That was one that I never crossed my mind. So there's tons of ideas that's happening just like that. So, okay. There's another one to add to the list of potential cool things.
Thoughts and ideas.
Okay.
Because everybody looks out that way. Right
Hey,
in town, you look out in the bay, look at the water.
Brian, because if they're on the camera, lean in a little bit so they can see if anybody's watching later on.
It's okay, I can see it.
Okay.
I've been hiding behind you this whole time.
All right, do we have to do
All right.
anything else?
No.
That was a public comment. We're good?
Yep,
Actually, I do have another public comment.
Okay.
That was sent in. And I'll just read it to you. That's all right. So this was sent to council and shared. They asked that we share it with the commission. It says, Dear Mayor Severns, greetings. We are Kirk and Andrea Nord, and we represent artist Eric Dowdle and Dowdle Studios. You may be familiar with his famous Dowdle puzzles and how they tell stories of cities and places around the world in his signature folk art style painting. Dowdle puzzles are the official puzzle for Costco wholesale, and they can be found at other major retailers across the nation, including Walmart and Target. His creative process can also be watched on Amazon Prime Video with 3 seasons of Painting the Town with Eric Dowdle, which recently got picked up by Chip and Joanna Gaines, Magnolia Network, and renamed The Peacemaker, premiering soon on Discovery Plus and HBO Max. We are reaching out to invite beautiful Oak Harbor, Washington to join Eric Dowdle and Dowdle Studios in the Land That I Love tour for America's 250th birthday starting in 2026. Eric will be partnering with just a few cities and businesses per state that are interested in commissioning an original Dowdle art piece that tells the unique story and rich history of your community and its piece of the puzzle in America's story. In addition, this has the potential to be a fantastic avenue for fundraising and generating revenue for your community. We are filling our painting production schedule now and would love to meet with you to discuss the benefits of this project for your community. Our Zoom presentation takes approximately 30 to 35 minutes to complete, including Q&A. Please take a moment to watch this short 3-minute informative video about Eric Dowdle and what he is doing with cities across America like yours. Thank you for your time. Kind regards, Kirk and Andrea Nord, who represent Eric Dowdle. Now, so this was, so the mayor asked to share with the commission. I don't know if it's just simply a marketing, for, cities can basically pay in to have it to be highlighted on this TV show or much of the details of it, but just want to pass it on to you if you want to give the mayor any indication of whether you're interested in looking at it or not.
Uninterested in it.
How much?
You don't know.
That's just my brain went, how many dollars?
Given that my daughter, they lived in Waco for 10 years, so I'm familiar big time with Chip and Joanna. I'd be willing to take a look at the Zoom or at least look at the promo video. Because that's just another thing to put down on the list to find out. If you're looking for economic development, maybe, I don't know.
Is there a link? Yeah, we'll forward the email to you guys.
And then we can all take a look at it and
Let me know if you Yeah, if you have any interests, we can do their Zoom half-hour meeting with Q&A or whatever.
Why don't we just turn around, we'll just put that on
The next month.
for next month, that at least we've viewed it. And then it's, where would that fit in as a priority? Anybody?
Brian, is it your sense it's an advertising buy-in without spending too much time investigating it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a, this is what they do, right?
Yeah.
So, he makes, so he goes and what he does is he goes and he interviews people around the community or whatever. And then he does this painting based off of like all these people that he's interviewed. So like his painting will have like, a baker there or some kids playing at Fort Nugent Park or, how some of the famous buildings around the city or highlights of it or whatever. And then they sell them at Costco. So he makes money off of these things, but he also makes money off the cities paying him, commissioning him to do
come,
it
yeah.
for him, right? The tie-in with the show and doing a spot is kind of an intriguing thing. Otherwise, I probably would have just told him, no.
Mhm.
But I don't know. Interesting. I'd be curious to maybe give a call into some other cities that have participated and see, well, how much did you pay? Did you feel like it was a benefit to the city? Was it a good spotlight? Was this a good economic development, initiative, which they kind of touted as? We really, I think you as our commission would need to, all right, does this add artistic value,
Yeah.
promoting arts in the community, or is it? I'm not going to advise you one way or another, just giving you the information.
I'll take a look at it just to see. The idea is intriguing.
Just, we had someone join, so I'm gonna let him in just so we can,
Maybe Carla, she
Yeah.
texted saying she was gonna be a little late.
My comments were simply to the mayor. I just said, there's an ask of us here that they probably won't share until the presentation. I usually charge for commercial filming in the city, but larger productions, like this on some of these major channels, they reverse that and charge the city for the privilege of being highlighted in their series. But I'll go ahead and discuss with the Arts Commission. That's what I told her.
good afternoon. The person logged in as iPhone, is that Carla?
Muted.
Is there like
Yes, it is. Sorry, I'm late.
Thank you.
Is there a group email? Cal, for Arts Commission?
There's not a group email, but I'll get you a Outlook contact that I created.
Why don't we just say, everybody take a look at that thing and then we will
See if there's a value
just
there.
see what we'll talk about at next meeting after everybody's taken a look at it. And then we can find out. It'd be cool if we could find out, like, okay, Podunk, New Jersey did this thing and they love it, or, and nice. Cost.
$9.99.
Okay, any other public comments? Do we have anybody else? That was it? Okay. We don't have to close anything. We can go right on to the presentations, report, and discussion items, current projects, next step. Gideon.
Oh, hey, all right. I'm kind of circling up here. Committees, we'll just said. So let's see, for the Kidden collections, I'm meeting with P&L's public project manager tomorrow to talk about the installation of Temple Blue and meditation. I turned in a professional service agreement to Superior Systems to do the repairs for meditation with a note saying edit or assign, and I'll see you on the 17th. So I'll give them some time to look it over. Once that's okay, I'll just copy and paste it and do the same thing for Temple Blue. I think that's it. The So things are moving forward. You folks want to know about the Angel? Okay, so that, we have a meeting with staff, a field visit with staff next week. And then the following week will be a field visit with members from council. Eric's going to be part of that, and Sculpture Northwest, to kind of zone in on a spot in Flintstone Park. I sprayed for locates, so if you drive by, you'll see some of my artistic work. I don't believe there are any utilities there. I think tomorrow is their last day, but it's a beautiful time to spray for locates since it's between raining days.
I
That's
can
all
give you a
I
little
can
bit of
think
an update from it going to council. The last council, the two council meetings before. So council did end up recommending some modifications to the agreement to Sculpture Northwest. So it's not official until Sculpture Northwest signs the revision and the mayor signs it, but the city was just taking kind of two issues, mostly around like the floodplain and geotech investigation, which added almost $30,000 to it, which really wasn't specified out in the original agreement. So I think that was some modifications. I think we're still waiting to hear back from Sculpture Northwest, or right? We haven't received a signed agreement, have we, Mikhail? From them?
I don't know.
But yeah, so we're just waiting for those signatures, and then everything's kind of official. But it's interesting. If you hadn't watched that meeting, it might be worth going back and watching the video of it. Just some of council's comments on whether they had officially bought into the agreement of committing to the installation or not, and we were kind of worried they were going to like throw it back, and then we were going to have to come back again, and it would just like delay it more, but they did pass it. So so as long as Sculpture Northwest is good and signs off, then I think we're just good for the install after that, right?
So, good question. And I don't expect an answer now, but it's about process. And Mikhail, maybe you could help give some guidance. Since it's usually goes to the Arts Commission says, this is where it's going to go, and then it goes to the Park Board, for their approval prior to council. Can we streamline things and go right to council?
Council has told us where to put it.
That's kind of the way I look at it too. But.
I mean,
And then also
Nothing
regarding,
else to say about it.
okay, and then also regarding the Creative Arts Fund. Can we go right to council, or is that something that has to go through the approval process with commission and then council?
Can't answer that.
I'll figure something out. So I might be back here for an ask for money, I guess. But at least it's not dead in the water.
I mean, this is such a unique situation with this installation, but I think the ask for money at this point, I mean, it could be on our agenda once you know how much all that stuff's going to be. We're going to vote unanimously to put it to council, so it might as well follow that path. That's just my thought, my input. So you're estimating $30,000, is that right, Brian?
Well, that's for the
permitting program?
right, yeah. The geocheck and floodplain permitting.
And did that floodplain piece come up after it was decided to move it?
Yes.
So that wasn't originally in it because it wasn't originally in it, right?
Yes.
Wasn't like it was.
Well, I think that,
And
no,
it's-
I mean, even in the previous location in the park, that would have fallen under that
Oh,
as well anyway, right? Because that's within the 200.
so yeah, we've been out of the shoreline exemption. Yeah, the FEMA rule was something that I had added in 2023.
So that's a
However,
new-
there's some silver lining that we're getting a biologist to do an assessment of our entire shoreline. That way we can do development like this. Would be kind of benign. It's not like an eco habitat or anything like that. It's an urban park. So hopefully that'll work out. I meet with her tomorrow. But the mayor, I guess, signed that contract. So
And I have a question. I had thought, so we have that beautiful flagpole that's already installed in the park. And we have a flagpole that's dedicated to our first responders at the beginning of the Walk of Honor on Midway. If we were to take our bigger flagpole and put it on that corner in an already existing pad and put the angel on the pad of the flagpole, could that speed up any of these processes as far as permitting goes?
I don't know if it'll speed up because that concrete's probably not.
It'll have to be re-engineered.
Yeah. And as far as moving the flagpole goes, Eric, I mean, do you have any thoughts? It was from, I believe, a boat in World War II. So it was like 30 years old or 20 years old in 1960 when the city got it.
Mhm.
We could potentially move that flag to City Hall, which would probably be a more prominent place to keep it at our flagpole here.
Can talk about it when you guys meet for placement. Was just a thought, because the pad was there, if it could be reinforced or something.
Or more interpretation too
Mhm.
for the flagpole.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's outside my decision making.
Yeah.
Any thoughts at all? I mean, I don't know
Well,
how
just keep it
public
in your
would-
back pocket when you guys are
Yeah.
walking around looking at locations.
So from the agreement, I don't think council's wanting Arts Commission to dole out any additional monies. We understand that by moving it to Flintstone, there'd be an additional geotech survey and council's willing to pay for that survey. And because it would be within the 200-foot shoreline, then we would do that as well, because that's an addition, in addition to.
And you say we, Eric, it still comes out of this art fund though.
No, I don't think, well, I don't know. So my intent from the city council point of view was not to have come out as,
The art fund.
yeah,
Okay.
because it was not the Arts Commission's decision to move it, it was council's.
Yeah.
So I can't speak for all of council, but for me personally, that
Yeah.
was not my intent.
Okay,
And I don't know how it can come. I don't know if it can come from general fund or where it can come
Okay.
from, but that was not my intent, was that because this was a city council driven decision, that
Sure.
the city should be absorbing that cost.
Okay.
Yeah.
thank
Now,
you.
I may have misunderstood during the meeting, but
Mhm.
that's how I.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. Thank you, Gideon.
Hey, welcome. Wonderful to see everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, I got
Yes.
one question then.
Mhm.
In your crystal ball, what would be the first piece that we would see or the public would see in place? And when would that be?
I think Temple Blue, as far as giving you a schedule, it's not gonna happen like
Okay.
just how it goes.
Okay.
I told them to, I'm thinking of different projects. There's too many other ones as well.
But
Yeah, but that's,
this year?
yeah. I would like to get it, yes, this year.
Okay.
Yes, I would like to get it summer of 2023. I think the main hiccup is going to be getting the repairs done. Just my own opinion, just not as responsive as I would want them to be, but that's okay.
Okay.
Temple Blues, the one going by Harbor Freight.
Yes. Yeah.
Anybody have anything else in current projects?
I guess a question for you folks, JR, want me to just kind of keep you in the courtesy copy list, or, I mean, Cynthia, or sorry, Therese, I feel like you've been part of these projects for so long that maybe you would want to be kind of kept in the loop too, or
I
see how
think
the sausage is being
send
made.
it to all of us.
I'll do the blind courtesy copy.
Yeah.
thing for everybody.
Yeah.
And other than that, be strange, not a stranger. Yeah, I'm up at Public Works now, so yeah, things are going well.
I'm just making sure because Carla's screen is bouncing up and down. There's not an earthquake or anything, right? And you do have clothes on? Okay. All right, Gideon, thanks.
Hey, thank you.
And if it's all right with everybody here, why don't we move Liz up, wearable art? Move that ahead of art
Yeah.
planning.
Is
So
this
that's
the
a
official?
change to the agenda. You guys
Is
in
this
favor
the
of that?
official way to
Sure.
pull up to chat?
Okay.
I'm just
Chair?
grabbing my phone.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So I'm Liz Lang. I am the Senior Services Administrator for the City of Oak Harbor and very familiar with some of these faces around the table and others I haven't met, but I'm happy to have been invited to chat with you today about an upcoming event. So should we go ahead and pull that up? The Wearable Art Show. Has anyone here ever heard of or been to a wearable art show? Yeah, they happen all around the world. Port Townsend actually has a pretty internationally known one. They get pieces flown into their show in Port Townsend. And Acorda's has one that is also hosted by their Senior Activity Center. So there are some in the area, but not being done locally.
Carla,
So- oh.
sorry. Carla, can you see the presentation? Okay.
You got the yeah?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we hosted one in 2019 and it was very successful. It was a sold out show. Everybody really enjoyed it. We were looking forward to doing it again every year. And then 2020 happened. And so we're finally getting back to putting this event on again. So these pieces you can see here are from our 2019 show. Each year, the thought is to have a theme. And this year, so last year, meaning 2019's theme was feathers. So they needed to incorporate a feather, whether that was actually feathers or a hint towards feathers, a nod towards feathers, anything like that. And then the other focus is to use reusable or repurposed items. So you can see those pieces there. The one on the right was done by our knitters, our knitting group over at the center in Oak Harbor. They knitted all of those feathers, which is super awesome. And that crochet too, I think, crochet and knit. And then that was the Island Clippers who were here for I don't know if any of you remember the Island Clipper newspaper, but those are fabulous. So anyways, this year it's hosted by the Oak Harbor Senior Center Foundation. They are a 501c3 nonprofit that exists to support programs and services at the senior center. And then the City of Oak Harbor, now Parks and Recreation, which would be me. And Oak Harbor Snow Isle Library is partnering with us as well. Last week, they hosted a creators swap at the library, and about 55 people attended. It was just like a buy nothing, come and switch any craft related items that you want. And several people came and did that, and we generated some ideas about ensembles and got people interested. It was a great event. And I believe is Joanne, she's on the Chris board, right? She was there. And she actually said she would model one of our ensembles. So we already do have a little bit of the Arts Commission participating in the event. So we're very excited. And the event is Saturday, April 22nd at the Center in Oak Harbor. So this next slide will start just a short little video that'll kind of give you a peek into what the event's like. That was the Magnificent Crab Queen. Maybe some of you are familiar with them in the community. That entrance is actually from Anacortes. I just love that picture. Everyone's faces in that picture. It's like my favorite. Like that just really captures kind of the feel of the event. And so really our goal is to get the community involved with creating these art pieces. We really tried to reach out to the school districts and get students to participate in creating items. And so I think we've kind of gotten it on their radar for the next school year. Weren't really in time to get it kind of in the curriculum with the art teachers for this year, but we're looking forward to that if you want to do the next slideshow. And one thing we're doing to participate youth in creating ensembles is giving anybody who enters who's age 12 to 18, if they're entering an ensemble, right away they get $100 for participation, kind of to help support. We know that these things, even if you're using items you already have, there's a cost associated with kind of creating these wearable art pieces, so they'll get $100 for participating, in addition to other cash prizes as well. So this year, the element that is required is, I can't ever say this word, foliage. Foliage? Did I say that right?
Foliage.
Okay, I did it, yeah. Yeah. And it is on Earth Day, so anything Earth Day themed or foliage related is somehow going to be incorporated into the ensembles. They must contain some type of repurposed material, a headpiece or a mask. We provide people, volunteers who do hair and makeup, if they want to utilize that. And then April 19th, all pieces are required to be on site for a dress rehearsal on the Wednesday before the event. And you can submit up to 3 pieces per artist, or you can have, multiple people doing one piece, or however that looks. And it was really fun. You can see Mayor and his lovely wife Rhonda participated in 2019 and were great models as well. And it's a really fun event. It's a way to kind of get the community kind of together and creating things, and it's been really neat to see what groups reach out and want to participate. And I thought, how have I not even thought to invite the Arts Commission? So if you're looking to diversify what you do as an Arts Commission and want to be involved in an event like this, we would love to have you. And if you want to hit the next slide, here are some ways that we're just inviting anyone who wants to participate to join in the fun and ways to support the show. So if you want to enter an ensemble in the show, whether from the Arts Commission or just as individuals here might want to. If you want to be a model, we do have some pieces that we're models for. We are looking for an MC for the event. We have all the light and DJ and music equipment, but we don't have anyone to run it. So we're looking for that. Help set up and take down, of course. Sponsoring the event, sponsoring the youth scholarship prizes or desserts for the auction. We do a dessert dash as part of the fundraiser, or help promote the event through your networks, and of course purchase tickets and invite your friends. So just wanted to bring this to your attention, let you know about this opportunity that's happening, and see if you have any or anything that you can think of that I haven't included in here. Any ways you might want to participate or be a part of the Wearable Art Show. And I do also have some flyers you can pass around. There is a QR code on them if you want information about, through that QR code, you can get to the online submission form, but I also have some printed ones too, if they're interested in those as well. You want to pass those out? Thank you. Yeah, any
I don't know if it's
questions?
public knowledge, but Gideon's a DJ.
Gideon's a DJ?
Gideon's a DJ.
Oh, like this Gideon, I was just here. Okay.
You might want to reach out to Gideon.
Oh my gosh, that is really great information to have. Thank you. I wasn't aware of that. It's also on our list to reach out to Would Be Weekly to invite them to attend. So I'll be sending an email. Thank you. Yeah, that would be great. We want to be able to promote it beforehand, and then also, have a follow-up piece too. So Snow Isle Library, they have their display case. We're going to be setting up a display at the beginning of April with some of last year's ensembles, and then after the show, we'll put the new winning ensembles. And the 3 different categories is, so everybody who comes for dinner and a show gets a ballot, and they all get a vote, and they vote on most creative, best in show, and best use of the theme. So it's a fun night. Dinner will be catered by Ghirardelli. It's a very nice meal, and yeah, it's a good time.
Tried to buy tickets last year and it was sold out. So
Oh, shoot. Yeah. Well, yeah, we did. We sold out when we did it, and we're hoping to sell out again. And we're hoping, really, honestly, we're hoping that we outgrow the space pretty soon, that we're holding, we need to hold it somewhere bigger because of the amount of participation we get. But for now, it's at the center, which is a really great space for events. We have a nice stage. We are having a runway built for it. So it'll be fun.
So if this says by March 1st, are you extending
That is
it
all,
then?
we are extending it,
Okay.
yes, and I actually meant to print off new ones, but yes, we will take it up through the end of March. Yeah, we'll take applications.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, we do have enough right now for a good show, but man, if we can get more and make the show even bigger and better, we'll do it. We'd be happy to. Any other questions?
Great.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
In person.
I know, it's been a long time, and then I was
Zooming.
telling you that you were here, I was like, oh, this is great. Especially if anyone knows the MC, it's probably you.
I'm gonna do that.
You can MC, you would MC? Is that what you're telling me? Nice, okay, very cool. I'm gonna put you down. I'll have to get your contact info, but I'm sure,
Okay.
I'll
I got
find that. All right, thanks, guys.
Have a good
Yeah,
day.
Excellent.
Thanks. Okay, then we'll move on to now. Item B, the arts planning, review of powers and duties and priorities, short and long-term goals.
All right, so what we're going to do here, I'll give you, actually, let's see here. I need to, I just need to go on Ring Central to do that. Pull this up. I met with Jer and Cynthia, and we kind of talked a little bit about planning for public art, talked a little about the need for a public art plan, and also playing around your guys' powers and duties, reviewing that, which is actually one of your powers and duties is to review and update that. I'll throw this on the screen.
So Carla, where are you?
Mind.
Todos Santos, Baja. Did you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Lots of whale activity here. It's very fun. The weather's nice and hot.
Just like here.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's your powers and duties for the commission. You can also find this in the municipal code as well. In chapter 2.29, you have six specific areas of responsibilities in your powers and duties. Foster arts and cultural programs for the enrichment of the city and its citizens. Foster the development of a local arts community. Encourage an environment for the success of working individual artists. Create and strengthen new and existing art organizations and develop cooperation with regional entities. Oh, there you go.
Okay.
That works. Develop a program for public art, including identifying sources of funding. Further the vision of Oak Harbor as a vibrant and progressive community, and review this chapter and make recommendations for changes. So a good way to really decide on what your action items are and what you want to break off little committees or work with staff on, or return and report to the city council, which is really what your function is as an appointed branch of council, is to research, investigate, work with staff, develop recommendations for policy changes, and then to go before council and advise them on your recommendations for them to take an action item on. You'll see in here also, it talks a little bit about organization procedure, And also for funding, the city council in the biennial budget may set aside special funds to be placed in the arts fund. And two, monies allocated to the arts fund from the utility tax shall be placed in the general fund with a direct allocation to the art acquisition and maintenance fund pursuant to the code. All right. So just like we do with, oh, it's not on that screen, so it's all right. I'll make this a little bigger so you can see. So here's kind of an example of how I have done it with. Change this.
Yeah, this might be a gather.
No, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm making it bigger for you guys here. There we go. Change how it's showing the screen. Okay, so this is how I've done it with other commissions and boards. This is a river commission in Colorado. So what we did is we put in this column each of those powers and duties that they have oversight for as appointed and given to them by council. I'll make that even bigger. So you guys see. Right. So one of theirs here is to investigate, study, and report to the city council on any and all matters concerning the use, enjoyment, conservation of the rivers, streams. So here's one of their items, and powers and duties. From that, they broke out, okay, well, what are some of the key issues that are embedded within this power and duty item as stipulated by council? Education, water quality, riparian ecosystem, water rights. So then they put in here, okay, what are some of the prior years and potential future priorities and goals that you as a commission will want to look at and maintain or monitor as you're doing that. So for this commission, consider creating a river warrior volunteer program. One of them was help coordinate distribution of the riparian planting guide and so on as it relates to each of those key issues, right? So then you put in, okay, so what are our action items for this year that we're going to do based off of those priorities and goals? So those action items for them look like something like hold 2 public education, public outreach presentations related to the commission's key issues. Another one was monitor city water rate study and or implementation. Distribute a riparian planting guide to landscapers, riverfront property owners. Also make available to local landscaping retailers and on city social media outlets. And then we assigned commissioners and or staff to help with oversight of each of those action items, which then we would come and do a brief report, maybe before or after the director's report, maybe during commission comments on, hey, here's what we accomplished in the last month on this action item, right? So that's just to kind of get you an idea and get your brain thinking around what this process looks like a little bit here of identifying the power and duty, identifying what those key issues are within there. Goals and priorities based off that, and then action items and how you want to assign that. So here we have kind of a blank template now for your community. I gotta switch this. Okay, so here we have a blank template now for your commission. I've already put in each of those 6 powers and duties as related to this commission. That's kind of my introduction. I can kind of moderate this as we go along, but it'd really be great to have it led by the commission yourselves to go through and talk about, well, what do you feel is identified as key issues in each of those duties that are given to you? What are some of your priorities specifically for this year that you want to tackle with those key issues? And what are some action items that you'd like to assign out to staff, assign out to yourselves to work with staff going forward with that? Any questions to the process of how we're going to kind of build this out. And hopefully what this does is it creates a very easy to understand roadmap for you guys on, all right, this year, these are the priorities that we want to get done. This is how it relates to what council has assigned us. This is what we're going to do. And you can put, hey, by our next council workshop session, we'll have these asks for them, or we will be reporting to them on policy revisions based off of these things. Questions? Does that understand? Does that sound good to you guys? Is there anything you want to tweak with this process?
No, I
or
think
this
that
document?
this is exactly what we needed as a group, is for somebody within the municipality to tell us what the process is to get this plan in place, or this more in-depth processes in place. And we as a group, between last meeting and this meeting, we've collected ideas collectively. Just give me your top 5 to 10 ideas of what you wanted to do. So to back into this process, Brian, and this spreadsheet before that, for the sake of time, because I'm looking at the clock.
And we don't have to get it all done.
No,
tonight.
that's what I'm saying. I'd be happy to take that list and sit down with JR now as chair and see where each of our ideas fit into these responsibilities. And I know I've sent this out to everybody as well. I even took time to read through the RCW in its entirety and make some suggested changes by comparing other small cities' code. So I think bringing code to date is really important too, with updated language. So I don't know if anybody had any input to what my suggestions were, or how we move that forward to get it to the workshop the next time that council can look at this, or if you look at it and say, no, Cynthia, you're way off base here. But again, it was just bringing language current and making some of these priorities or our duties, if you would, just a little bit more elaborated.
Mhm.
So I have a template that we created, and I've got everyone's ideas. I've just got to get Joanna. And my suggestion would be, so we have time within an hour. First, I would like to see that we come back monthly instead of going every other month, because to me, this brick and mortar stuff takes a lot of time. And so to see movement and get this plan in place before a next workshop or the workshop after that, I think it would take monthly meetings for us, and then subcommittee meetings.
And you had been prior meeting every other month, is that right?
Well, it was every month up until last year, and then we went every other month. But I love that there's an action. I appreciate you bringing your experience to the table for us with this process, because this is what the city council's frustrated with, is that we can't hand them a plan, and we've not had a process handed to us
To make a plan.
So,
And it can be overwhelming
Yes.
without it, right? Because
Yes.
you have like 1,001 things that need to be done in the city, and we want
And
to do that.
to sit down here and like, okay, let's make the plan right now and do it within an hour. It can't work this way. It's hard, so we have to take some time to think about this.
well, and the spreadsheet that I created prioritized and collected our ideas. So all of our top priorities on the front page of the workbook. Our second priority is on the front page collectively. So as we develop that, we can share our more details about the plan or the proposed ideas, including those coming from our community.
Because that's, it has to be
Yeah,
included.
I mean, for example, one of my ideas is to hold a town hall style meeting, inviting the public to come talk to us if they really want to. Let's
And it would-
listen to them. And it would,
There it is.
Yeah.
There's the plan, and there's a bunch of blanks
so,
looking for names to fill in. Go ahead.
yeah,
But the part where we have the duties already listed out and then be able to categorize those ideas within those duties, then to be able to assign those
yes. Who's gonna do
persons
what?
who can do what, then streamlining down instead of just randomly like, did you see that? Did you do that? And
Yeah.
so that alleviates confusion, and then it also presents, to the council that we are actually in the process and we are working the process because there now is one to work in.
Yeah, and where you're at in the process. Now, this is by design restrictive, right, in how much you can do, because there is a bandwidth for staff, especially since we don't actually have an art staff. You have Gideon as an engineer who has worked with placement of these, but right now it's a little bit of Gideon as far as installation, and it's but we will develop that staff. But this also limits you to what is actually doable, so that you can go back to council and say, hey, here's the document, the plan for this year that we presented to you. We got your feedback on it. We made tweaks. We were in line, and you were in line, understanding what we wanted to do, and us understanding what you wanted to have happen. And we were able to check off each one of those, right? So you have basically 24 action items out of this. Now that's max, because in my experience, that's about as much as you can do in a year. That's about 2 action items per month. And that's with an actually built out art staff, right? So even though I have 4 lines for each of those, I would, that'd be your max, right? I'd recommend maybe even just two each. And I know you'll be so tempted to, but we want to make sure we do. And we'll get to that. We'll get to everything. What is the priority for this year? What's that? So this kind of forces you to pick either the low hanging fruit that's easy to get at, or the things that are just absolutely need to happen this year.
So Brian, clarify for me, I really appreciate your experience and the process that you're bringing to the table for us to follow, and we'll do that. I'm gonna take it on next week to get it done in your template for what we have gathered. Is it your role now within the city to develop this arts plan, this parks and rec / arts? Is that all encompassing with you? Because it is flat. This is all we had was the RCW. There's no meat to it.
Yeah. I told Blaine I'd take on arts, and that's transferred over to me. We're still working on the structure of it. So at the next council meeting, we're changing the powers and duties for the park board. That's being changed into the Parks and Recreation Board, and additional powers and duties are being added to that. We left arts separate off of that because we have a body, and I feel like eventually the vision is that we will have an arts division. They'll handle special events, public art placement, art programming, everything from twinkle toe dance classes to art, visual arts and music art, whatever. That plan will be separate from like a Parks and Recreation master plan.
Sure.
But it all kind of goes into the city's comprehensive plan, right? So yeah, we will develop an art plan that usually is somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000 to do that. So that's something that we'll want to talk about, the funding for that. But this is kind of the first step into informing the direction of the scope for that art plan. Then you get, you go out for a bid and you get a contractor like Community Connections, or I'm trying to think of ones that are house. It'd be great if we could get someone in the Northwest. A lot of these type of contractors that do these community planning efforts and do the art plans are located like in the Midwest. But if we could get someone in the Pacific Northwest, that'd be ideal, right? But yeah, we'll put it out to bid and they'll develop that. That usually takes about a year to do. They come in, they meet with you guys, they meet with stakeholders around the city. We go out and do a walkthrough. We give them an inventory list that we've made sure is up to date of all the public art, both that are out about and that the city might have on loan, any rotating art programs, which we have, which I don't think we have yet, but we'll implement that. They take all of that. They look at the city's comprehensive plan. They look at like Parks and Rec master plans, different things like that. And then they build you out an art plan that does a couple things. One, it tells you what the community feels, the character that they want to, the character of the community that they want to portray to the world, right? So what's the feel of the community supposed to be like? it'll also put in there the process for call for artists and commissioning art pieces. Right now, there's not really any rhyme or reason to how often you're dipping into that fund to commission pieces, or
The cycle of it.
right. You're having people that come and say, hey, this is a great idea. I think you really ought to consider that. That all goes into it, but that shouldn't inform and lead the process. That should go into the process. And then you have, so the council should know very well, okay, we know that the commission is going to spend about this much money every year on commission pieces, and we're going to place these many pieces in the community. So it kind of builds out that machine of how public art is identified for areas of need, and it works off of placemaking principles, which we'll talk about another time. But yeah,
I'm
so-
really excited about this opportunity to be involved in the creation of that. I think it's fantastic. It really excites me. And I'm really happy to hear you talk that language.
So what I'm thinking is like, okay, you and I get together as the chair and the vice chair, start filling in the template, at least get the first big blocks in there. And then we could break out into we'll take a look at it, but let everyone else have a gander in this, because we're not going to do it in silence on this, and find out if there's areas that we have to meet in subcommittee that we're going to take for visual type pieces. Oh, come on, that's right up your alley. So we should have another meeting. There should be a subcommittee meeting, and we don't have to, let's fill in that block and get that one. Let's go after the top 4. And then if there's like, okay, there's performing arts, and there's youth, what we don't know yet, but we could break out into smaller groups to meet. And hopefully maybe by the next meeting, when we hear next, we might be able to have a couple of those blocks filled in.
Yeah. So this is kind of a mini version of what a public art plan will give you guys as a deliverable. So this will just be for this year. This gets easier once you have that in place, because the art plan basically informs what goes into all this. Right?
To be honest, we could write anything on there, and nothing's going to happen until here's an easy one. Work's already done. We're fine with that. This could be the low hanging fruit, so you can start knocking some of these things off, because it still comes on at the end of the day is somebody's going to have to pay somebody, and somebody's going to have to do it. And I'm not going to go put a silhouette on a cinder block, but you might. And if we decide that is truly a priority, then we can do a call for artists. And we can figure, let's start creating how we get to the end game, and how does this turn into something.
You'll send me that template?
Yep,
Brian?
yep.
Okay.
I'll send it over to you. If you guys, I don't know if you want to pass a motion to formalize, yes, we are going to build this out. And then my recommendation would be, once you have this document in place, which you want to kind of move fairly quickly on it, because the year is going by, is I would recommend just a quick, have an agenda item on one of the council's workshops to present this, and make sure that it's in line with what their thoughts are on art in the city.
I know when we talked earlier, and Cynthia and I were talking, my biggest thing is like, where the ideas are. Because we just sat down here and you came in with an idea, didn't think of that. This one came in, oops, didn't even know about that. And we're filled with all these creative and artistic people. We got to find out what some of these ideas are. And if they figure out, here's the plan, this is how you can make, because they have their desire to make something happen. Now you know what the system is how you can get into it and make it happen.
Does it need a motion?
Or
can
we-
we
I don't know if it needs a
But-
motion at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe once you're done with it.
I would say, because we're talking about
Yeah.
for future agenda items, I would like to, next,
I think that's this would be like always on the agenda.
It should be.
Right, so yeah,
It's always been
you'd
on.
have a, commissioner's comment section where you basically report on, okay, here's what we worked on with staff, or here's what was done.
I really like it. Thank you very much. Carla, do you have anything? I did,
No.
like I said, I've got everybody's ideas, so we can back into this template fairly easily. So having it ready for next meeting shouldn't be a problem.
Then we already are ahead of the game.
Kind of, for once.
Anybody else got any comments?
I have a comment, and I don't know if it should have been added as an agenda item, but I know we've been collectively pretty excited about getting our utility boxes started.
That's
And
exactly where I
so-
was going to go.
I don't know what the suggested route for getting some funds released to get some of those boxes wrapped by the school kids would be, but we've talked about it for 2 years now. So, and it seems to be the lowest hanging fruit. The bid has been submitted by Humphrey Signs. Teresa and JR have talked to the schools about the kids submitting art.
We
We've
got
got the,
permission and the addresses for all the boxes from Alex.
yeah, so everything's in place, and it was just a little less
I
than
talked to a couple of
$400 a box.
The
We're-
teachers and
There was a grant given to an English teacher at Home Connection, Erica Jenkins, and we have connected with Jeff, and she's gonna spend the last $800 she got on the grant and wrap the 2 boxes that are down by the stainless steel light, but she's taking all the art from all the kids that are in this literary program, and there's gonna be words and they're gonna be framed, so it's gonna be like a gallery of all these kids' art. And Jeff just got really excited, and they were,
and there's 7 boxes
they're
in
17.
total. Oh, 17. Oh, for some reason I thought I heard
15 or 17, and I think in one of my emails, there is a county-owned boxes that we could get permission to wrap if we wanted to, but that could just be something we connect in.
So is that agenda item for next time that we
Yeah.
actually work on or find out about?
That's what I wanted to put on the agenda with thoughts of a proposal to go to council saying, hey, because by then Home Connect, they're starting to wrap them yet, or they haven't done it yet?
It's been measured, and she has to get better pictures of the kids' art so that they're clear with each.
And I talked to a couple of the art teachers and they just were giddy at the idea because, as one art teacher said, you live in infamy. Every time you come back and drive by, I did that. We did that.
So Mikkel, is there a formal way to present a proposal to council, or is it just memorandum style of this is what we want to do? Like, again, we've got all of the information, so how do we get it from this table through you to council?
Yeah, I would have, write a memorandum and we'll submit it to the city clerk, and then she can schedule and with your help, fill out an agenda item. So it's
Okay,
an agendized item instead of just a comment at the beginning. This would be more like a presentation to council.
so Therese, do you want to work with Mikkel on getting that language together for that?
Because what we would need is like, okay, Home Connections is knocking out 2 of these things. And that's gonna cost X amount of dollars. So if you get the other 15 of them, or how many other we're gonna do,
$7,500 would cover the whole project and also compensate artists if we called
Right.
out artists. So we could even just
Okay.
round it up to $10,000, just so we don't have to ask twice. But Jeff has agreed to do them. I
And some
think
of
he
it-
said 3, but he's charging 4.
I was gonna say it was a little less than 4, he's probably at 4
Yeah,
now.
so he's at 4 now, but it's all still,
and then part of the call to artists could even, because we'd say, hey, it's gonna go to, these schools are gonna get them, so the kids are gonna get some, and artists can get some, and so.
there's also something that I think some of the city council members talked about is getting things that weren't just sculpture. And there's a park in Stevenson, Washington that has art that is musical, and it's big and it's bright and it's powder coated and it's like giant xylophones and it just takes up this area. So it looks like sculpture, but you could have these musical events there or just gather and make these, and they're available online. You can get these, they're in parks all over the country, but you can get like maybe 5 pieces of these musical art and maybe even put them in Sumner Park.
And we just have, that should be part of, let's
Our
put this
idea list.
on the
It's-
idea
it's-
list. I mean,
it's-
there's one that is low hanging fruit, like this thing is happening. Those boxes are getting wrapped. 2 of them are getting wrapped. And we got somebody that's willing to wrap the other ones, and the art teachers are ready to help wrap. We don't have to wrap all 17 of them, but we can get a couple of schools.
Jeff
to-
said he could knock out 1 or 2 a month. And so, you know, we could have the whole process done before the end of the year.
So,
So Mikkel, you'll help her know what you need to
Yes.
get it in
Yep.
order.
Okay, so we'll put-
Thank you.
I will tell you, the question that will come up is how many bids did you get?
Well, we have to call out for bids, right?
Well,
We
in
don't go
terms
to
of
bids.
wrapping the boxes,
Oh.
did we only get 1 price from 1 person, or did we get 2 prices or 3 prices? I mean, so that would be the one question that came to mind, at least for me right away, is. how
From what I know, Jeff's the only one on the island that does it.
Blue Fox does
Blue
vinyl as
Fox
well.
does
Yeah,
vinyl?
And they do wraps. Yep.
Okay, we need to
Okay.
talk to them.
Yeah.
I like
Okay.
it. Thank you for that direction.
okay, let's put that on the agenda for next meeting.
I don't have anything else. Can you believe it?
Anybody else have any comments?
So I have one last thing here from Laura Renninger, who is the head of the Gary Oak Society. She wanted to come present, but she had a conflict in her schedule. But she said, I'll just read her stuff here. I'll be helping to plant Gary Oaks in Windjammer Park today, and if times allows, do some cleaning up, weeding at Smith Park. Here's what I need and would like to present to the commission. Please present the giant acorn activity page. Get someone to add city logo and change the words from Gary the Oak Guy to Gary the Acorn Guy. Gary the Acorn Guy is the name of our mascot, and we have given permission for his image to be used. Our name is the Oak Harbor Gary Oak Society, not the Gary Oak Society. After the above is finished, all that is needed is for someone to print out 500 copies of the activity page, and it will be ready to use. Any other questions about layout and content should be directed to Pat McVeigh, the artist. We have already given Pat the feedback as in this email. I think he just needs someone to give final sign off. Gideon is somewhat familiar with this already, as is Cynthia Mason. Our request is that it is finished in time for April 8th, when our group will be doing an education table about Gary Oaks at the Easter egg hunt in Smith Park in partnership with the Main Street Association. We can do a soft release of the activity page at that time, and then the city can do a big splash about it for Arbor Day.
So
That's my
this,
go-to questions.
this is part of a bigger plan too, is how you do a ribbon cutting when a piece is installed and what goes on with that activity. And this is the first time with this installation that the idea of an activity page, because there's lots of things for kids to find in it, color Gary the Oak. So she's looking for help to get that paper, that little coloring page, and find these little things ran off. So my mind's eye tells me that Sabrina would be the one to help put the spin on it the city wants to have on in partnership with Gary Oak Society and Pat McVeigh as artist, and with the support of the Arts Commission. And I did a little bit more research after JR talked to me about Crayola crayons. I mean, I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but thought process for every single piece of art should have a coloring contest for a kid. It just makes a little bit more buzz when we can post it around where it's installed. But am I wrong in thinking that Sabrina should be the one to run off those copies and have them for Laura?
Well, so both her and Gideon kind of like looked to me as, hey, do you want to be the contact for this or whatever? I'm trying to understand what the scope is. I can definitely pull Sabrina in. So these pages, is it a page or is it like multiple pages?
It's a bifold and it's got the kind of the map of what's on it.
But did we? I'm sorry, did I?
That's,
I know, the last time I came to a meeting, because I feel like I missed something, he was here and he had the sketch.
That's
for it.
exactly what we were talking
And
about.
so is that the last time that we saw anything with that?
Mhm.
So then how did we get from that sketch to like, oh, we have something and we want it printed out and now we want stamps on it and we need it in 2 weeks?
They've been working with Gideon and Laura.
That's where I'm like, so why, so then the real part is like, why is it got that far, so why is it?
I think we've been working with Laura. I don't know that Gideon's done anything with it since
Okay.
then.
Yeah, so that's like,
I guess
So they
we're
just want,
struggling again, what our role is in this, like,
yeah.
is it
That's the
all?
artist.
Yeah, but I mean, he's been working with Laura as the Gary Oak Society because of Gary, the little oak guy.
Mhm.
And the idea of this little scavenger hunt for kids is, we all love. So what do we do with it?
well, we can't dedicate it until the cover's done because it's not a complete sculpture.
You know,
And then
but
we-
she's gonna have a booth on the, did you say the 9th?
The 8th?
8th?
April 8th.
Yeah, that's like,
Well, yeah, at the Easter egg.
The last thing I saw from Pat looked like he was wrapping it up.
at least you saw that.
Yeah.
Do you have a contact for Pat?
I do.
If you want to send that to me, I can reach out to him because I feel like I'm hearing this through like 3 different
Mhm.
channels.
Right.
So I'm just trying, so from this, what Laura had sent me, it sounds like they're looking for us to just kind of add a city logo, change a little something on it.
Change
So I don't
his
know,
name to Acorn from,
is it an editable thing or is this a hand thing?
Yeah, it's just a little cartoon.
So I'm not sure how you change.
That's
the-
where the problem lies, is this is all hand done. So, and it looks like it's sketched, so it's pencil sketch. So reproducing that is not going to reproduce real well, and are the lines clean enough? Because it looked like a sketch.
Yes.
So without clean lines, it's going to be difficult to color.
Exactly.
So it really needs to be cleaned up. In order to put this together for a brochure, those images need to be cleaned up. First,
You gotta have
This
like
is two, this is-
graphic.
you have to have graphic arts, yeah. I mean, this is not going to be, Sabrina can just throw it together and print off a couple copies.
No, I didn't expect that at all, but I'm saying, so I agree with you. That's why it's like, who does that? Who does that with this idea?
Well, and that's where I think we have to put some of these things out to, we have to request a bid for putting this together in terms of putting it together graphically and then printing.
Right.
Was there a
Copies.
commitment from the commissioner or city, like
Just
who's,
an idea.
so
No,
it sounds
but-
like they want us to print out.
That's what I'm saying, like, what
500
happened? There's
copies of
some
this.
It was
disconnect.
just simply an idea.
It was
This
an
never
idea.
voted
No,
on
it's
and
because
never-
they
never
turned
agreed.
around and I
There was an
people remember
idea, and
saying,
I'm like, wait, did I miss?
I said, hey,
Because
those characters
that
need to be
Image.
I,
I'm trying to.
visualized. And he had talked today, yeah, I talked to Betsy Kamarick, the art teacher, and, with these, giving them some life. And that's when I said,
You can watch the rerun of our last meeting,
Mhm.
Brian, because he presented it through our screen. We were all online.
mhm.
So
Okay.
But it's a great idea,
it is.
but yeah, see, we're a little ways away from being ready for a final product.
there's 2 of those.
Gary, okay. So,
So they don't want Gary Vio, they want.
but this is.
We want the verbiage to
hand
be
thing. How,
Acorn, not
so
Three
why
weeks.
is the
Yeah.
artist making that change?
read
How are we
our-
supposed to
Well,
change
and
that?
that's just it, the artist has
It's
to,
a
because
rubber
that's all
stamp.
on pencil or pen or whatever that was done, yeah. So
'Cause-
really, the best way to do that would be to have all of these images as a single piece
File.
of, yeah, file.
And exactly what you're saying, you want to kind of like simplify it with, just a pen.
Sharpie the edges.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right,
Like
yeah.
that kids can
Clean
draw.
up the edges, make it, easier for the kids
that's,
to
I was
draw.
like, wait, how did they go from his like scratchbook to like now we can a brochure?
So is that the concept or is that the final?
That's the concept. There is no
Yeah,
line.
there's,
I think Laura thinks it's the final. So there's a little bit of a disconnect here.
All right, well, I'll follow up with Laura. I guess I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it. Could we have maybe a rep from someone? Okay, you know, that, yeah, that's cute, but yeah, I get what you're saying, that it's not necessarily a finished.
It's not correct.
No,
Right. Might be good to have maybe one of you at our Parks Board meeting next Monday, because I know she's presenting there for
I
that.
have it on my calendar already to watch.
Okay, yeah, maybe we could,
What time?
it's at
10 o'clock.
10.
They're meeting from 10 to 12 now.
In the morning?
Mhm.
I could do that.
Yeah, they changed it.
used
Oh,
to be
yeah.
11.
All right.
That's all I really have, just,
No, that's good. Okay.
So do we have to get back to Laura or just let her know that we don't know that this is
Ready to
awesome?
go. It's not ready to go.
well, you guys can either tell me what you want to tell her, or
It's not
like I
ready.
said, have someone there and,
Yeah.
and let's see what
I-
she's bringing, and I'll try and reach out to her
Or look at
before
it,
that,
I'm not,
but
I wouldn't be ready to put any art commission. Oh yeah, baby, this is good. Graphic artist has to for this and do it right. This
One has
is-
to go through some kind of design review, wouldn't it? If the city logo is gonna be on it, it has to be approved and, you know.
so
so-
I just responded to her, send me the art page.
Okay, it's the right thing, so
So,
we just have
yeah,
to,
You have to refine it.
Said the printer. This is unprintable.
okay,
No, I mean, it's a great concept. She's
No,
not
but
ready yet.
that's
It's
why I
not
was
a
just like,
finished
wait, what
product.
happened? That was.
Yeah.
we have a motion to adjourn.
A second. Motion adjourned.
Carla, you want to quit?
I'll make a